Hello, Steve here from Consommés Butchers, and welcome to my kitchen. I'm sorry it's been a little while since my last video, but Christmas and New Year happened. We were quite busy. Then I slept for what felt like a month. Then I slipped over on some mud walking up a footpath and bashed my head on a fence post. Gave me a bit of an ouchie, so I had to wait for that to recover. Now I'm back to my drop dead gorgeous self. We do another video. Now, I'm doing a video soon where I need a duck stock. So I thought, right, I'll do a duck stock as a video. Now stocks are very important in kitchens. We use them essentially you've got two types of stocks. You've got a brown stock and you've got a white stock. A brown stock you would use for things like stews and gravies. White stocks you would use for sauces. Brown stocks are normally made with beef bones, lamb bones, and white stocks are made with poultry, pork or veal. Now I'm going to do a brown stock using duck because I'm going to add it to essentially a stew type meal. Now the differences between a brown stock and a white stock, apart from the colour obviously, is a brown stock you brown the bones in the oven and a white stock you don't. White stock you simmer on the stove for about 5 hours. Brown stock, 3 hours for a white stock. Brown stock about 5 to 12 hours. When I was in a commercial kitchen, we would have two big stock pots on the back of basically we had a solid top cooker, which was an area about this big but slightly deeper, and we would have one big pot there, one big pot there. One was white, one was brown. We'd add vegetables to it throughout the day, just let it tickety and simmer over. At the end of the day we'd strain it off, both of them off, and then that would give us our stocks for whatever we were producing the following day, and then we start it again. Right, we're going to do, as I say, a duck stock, and for a duck stock you will need one duck, you may have noticed that this isn't a duck, this is chicken. There is a very good reason for that, and that is, whilst I was editing all the different clips of these videos together, I accidentally deleted this bit. Now I knew we had no more ducks in the shop defrosted, so I had to improvise. Essentially, there's no difference between a duck and a chicken, except that one swims and the other will probably drown. One has red meat and the other has white meat. One is quite long and squat, the other one is short and tall. They both taste completely different, and one can fly and the other can't. But apart from that, essentially they are identical. Right? There is no difference whatsoever because they have two breasts, two legs and two wings. These are shorter wings because they don't fly. Right, so obviously I'm not going to make a stock out of the prime cuts. Alright, I'm going to take the prime cuts off because all I want is a carcass. So just pretend for a couple of moments that this is a duck. You butcher it down exactly the same. You'll also need a large knife, a boning knife. If you haven't got a boning knife, a veg knife will do fine. You'll need a couple of carrots, a couple of onions and some celery. Right, now to butcher a bird, a poultry. Pull the legs apart from the main part of the bird, and I'm going to use a boning knife on one side, and on the other side, just to show you can, I'm going to use a vegetable knife. Just make a small nick in the skin, pull the skin back a bit and follow it down as far as the carcass, as far as the backbone. Do this with the other side just to show you can with a vegetable knife. Cut it. Now what we're going to do is place our fingers underneath the bird, use our thumbs on this part and pull them back and essentially dislocate the legs. So get your fingers underneath, thumbs on top, pull the legs back, and you'll see that there's the leg bones dislocated. Now on this side, if you pull it back, you'll see there's a round bit of meat. All right, that's called the oyster. That is the most succulent part of the bird. So try just using the tip of your knife to get underneath the oyster. There it is. There's the leg bone, and basically just use your knife, just cut through the soft part of the flesh, and you can then almost just pull it away from the bird and just cut the skin. Okay, that's one duck leg off. Use my vegetable knife for the other one. Again, there's the oyster. Just use the tip of the knife just to get underneath it. Through the soft part of the leg and pull it off. And there's the other leg. Right, with the breast, you'll see down here that there's you can feel it. That's where basically the breastbone is. Right, all poultry is exactly the same. Now you need to remove the wishbone. You can, if you want, go in this end and scrape it away, but it is much easier if you then get your carving, your big knife, go to just one side of that line and cut down at 90 degrees to your chopping board. Now at the front you'll meet some resistance. That's the wishbone. Put your hand on there and just cut through it. And then do exactly the same the other side of the breastbone. Then use your boning knife, basically just pull the breast apart and just follow the carcass. Follow it down, just keep following it down. Now at this point you'll come across essentially what it is. It's the shoulder blade, I think. I'm not a vet. But you just follow your knife down the shoulder blade. There it is there. And what you'll actually do is cut through the soft part of tissue between the wing and the main part of the carcass. So that's one breast off. Use my veg knife to do the other one. I must sharpen my veg knife. There again is that shoulder blade bone. Turn it around, just follow it down, and you'll just cut through the wing. There's one part of it. Now, the wing on a chicken you can use, but remember, this isn't a chicken, this is a duck. Pretend. So, for a duck breast, we're just going to trim off the wing bone, and we're going to use that in our stock. Trim off any excess skin. One nice chicken breast, duck breast, and all we're going to do, right, I've managed to leave the thick part of the wishbone in there, so I'm just going to score around that, and then use the side of your knife on the end of the other end and just push it out. So you got one breast, again cut off the wing, side of your knife, and just push the big wishbone out. trim off any excess skin. So now we've got the 2 breasts and the 2 legs, and these I'm going to do something else with, 2 other videos at a later date. Right, now what we want to do is cut this up into manageable pieces. Just use a big knife, cut through the soft parts of the joints. Put any excess skin in there, put any bones in there, and now we're just going to chop up the carcass. Now you may have noticed that the videos aren't on Facebook anymore. There is a reason for that, which I won't bore you with. But excuse me, there is we're now on YouTube. Now I've been told by the nice people at YouTube that if you like and subscribe to this channel, you will automatically get updated whenever I put up a new video. So that's one reason. Also, I've been told that if you like and subscribe, that every dish of mine that you do will turn out perfectly. Right, 2 carrots. Not even going to peel them or take the ends off. Cut them up roughly and put them in the pot. 2 onions. Again, I'm not even going to peel them or anything. Skins, everything, and put them in a pan. You need a heavy bottom pan for this. Ideally, it's going to be in the oven for 3/4 of an hour or so, and then it's got to live on the stove. And 1 stick of celery. We're also going to add a pinch of mixed herbs, otherwise known as a bouquet garni. And a bouquet garni isn't chopped up, it's just whole. So I'll put a pinch of those in. Now, because this is a duck, you don't need any oil in it. There is enough fat in the bird itself to baste it. So what you can do is you're going to pop it into a preheated oven for about 45 minutes. You want the oven at 200 degrees, gas mark 5. Give it about 45 minutes. Give it a stir a couple of times, no lid on, and basically we want this to brown off. All right. If you are doing this as a chicken, you'll need to drizzle a bit of oil on. I'm not going to do it at all because I've already done it. So I will see you in about 45 minutes. Okay, I checked this after 45 minutes and it wasn't quite brown enough, so I gave it another 15 minutes in the oven, and as you can see the bones are nice and brown. On the bottom of the pan we've got some nice caramelisation going on. These are the bits that you find it really difficult to get off your roasting tray. That is what we want. Now all I'm going to do is add a little sprinkling of mixed herbs. You can use a bouquet garni if you want, but mixed herbs are just as easy. And now we're going to add some water. You need enough water to cover the bones. Okay, we're there. All I'm going to do now is put this on the stove onto a nice high heat, bring it up to the boil, then turn it down to a simmer and leave it for about, well, 4 to 5 hours. It's important with a brown stock that you keep, and even a white stock, you keep topping the water up, because after, you know, when it's been boiling or simmering for a few hours, the water level will go down, exposing the bones. You need to top it back up again to where it is now. Once the cooking process is over, then you can start thinking about reducing it, but for the time being you need the water level kept at this level, 4 to 5 hours. throughout the cooking process. During this time I'm going to add a few other bits and pieces. For instance, I've got some spare tomatoes I'm going to pop in there. I've got some other bits and pieces I'm going to pop in there to basically to get the flavour from the other things I'm putting into the liquid, because that is what's going to make your dishes taste so great. Now, you may have noticed that we're on YouTube now. Now, I've been told by the good folks at YouTube that if you like and subscribe to our channel, that every dish that you try of mine will turn out perfectly. That's what they say. Who knows? Right, I'll see you in about 5 hours when this is boiled away, and then we'll go through the straining part. Okay, see you in 5 hours. Okay, it's been about 5 hours now, and as you can see, this is nice and brown. Everything's really soft. I mean, the meat, the bone is just falling apart, and now it's ready. It's time to strain it. As you can see, there's quite a lot of fat in there, because that's what happens when you get from a duck. So I'm going to put a bit of muslin cloth in a sieve, and I'm now going to strain it into a bowl. Okay, that's strained. We just agitate this a bit to let the liquid through. Right, now this stock is now ready to use. As you can see, it's what I call a bit muddy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to chill this down overnight. That way all the fat will rise to the top. We'll be able to scrape the fat off, leaving us with the stock, and then I'll clarify it. So I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, hello again, we're back. Right, last night we strained this off into the bowl. It was quite hot. This morning I popped it in the fridge and let it chill down. Please ignore what's going on the right hand side. I've said this in another video. I'm actually doing 3 videos at the same time here. Who says men can't multitask? Right, as you can see, it's nice, and there's quite a lot of gelatinisation in there. Nice, basically it's jelly. What we need to do is get rid of this fat, so we can just scrape that off, because what we want is a lovely stock underneath. There's not much point in keeping this fat, because we've got pretty much all the flavour we can get out of it. So ordinarily, if it was a white stock, I might use this for a Yorkshire pudding, or maybe roast potatoes. But we've boiled this for 5 hours, so there's not much flavour left in it. So we're going to scrape out the fat. A bit more kitchen roll, dab it on the top, and get out as much as we can. Okay, that'll pretty much do us. Right, now what we're going to do, as you can see, is still quite muddy. What we're going to do is clarify it and make it crystal clear. Now, when you watch these TV chefs, they make such a big song and dance about clarifying stocks and basically essentially turning it into a consommé. It is easy, so long as you follow 2 basic rules. The first rule is you don't stir it after you put the egg whites in. Secondly, you don't come anywhere near a boil, even a simmer like this pot here is doing on the right. If you abide by those two rules, you will have it a doddle. What I'm going to do is pop this in the microwave for 45 seconds just to melt it a bit. I can't stress the importance of stocks in kitchens. If it wasn't for stocks, what would normally be a good meal, a stock turns it into a great meal. If you do it with really simple stuff, like what I'm going to do, a mince dish. I'm using this stock for a mince dish. And it turns a mince, which is a plain, ordinary dish, into a really, really great dish. How long have we got now? 25 seconds. Won't be long. For this you'll need a whisk to whisk the egg whites in. Don't worry, I'm not going to lose the yolks. I'll have those in my breakfast for tomorrow with my scrambled egg. At some point we're going to need the ladle, a sieve, and the muslin cloth that we used last night to strain it off. I know it's not, you know, brilliantly clean, but if we turn it inside out, it's still not brilliantly clean, but whatever. It's the same stock that's gone through it. Right, we've got a beep now for the microwave. Stock is starting to melt. Give it a whisk. And now we're going to whisk the egg white in. Now there's 2 egg whites in there and there's probably a couple of pints of stock. What the egg white will do, as this thing is cooking, is it will rise to the top and take all the impurities that are in this stock with it, and you'll end up with a scum on the top of the stock. But as it comes to the stock, everything below it, the egg white will sink to the bottom, it will come towards the stock and bring every impurity with it, and it will end up being crystal clear. Now what we're going to do now is to move this pan, because it's in the way. So I'll put that pan over there and it can do its thing, because what I want is the smallest gas ring I've got on the lowest heat. And we're just going to pop this on here. And now I'm going to hide all my spoons, all my whisks, anything else. I'm going to hide my fingers, anything else I can stir that with, because you must not stir this from now until it's finished. Alright, and all we're going to do is bring it to not even a simmer, but essentially we're going to poach it. And as when you watch this thing go on, please don't walk away and do other things while it's going. Watch it. When it comes to the heat, you'll see the scum rising up, and you will see a crack appear in it where the heat can escape, and you will see a beautifully clear liquid underneath. And I'll come back to you when that happens. Right, we're back to what has proved to be the cursed duck stock. I had a little bit of a problem with the beginning of this, the second part of this stock, because I accidentally deleted a bit. Then when it came to, I seamlessly repaired that bit, because if I hadn't have pointed out to you that it was a chicken, I'm sure none of you would have noticed. But when it came to putting the video together, I found out then that the last bit, this bit, didn't exist. Now I suspect, and I'm sure for those of you that know my wife, witchcraft. No more to say. This is actually a beef stock, which I've had to clarify. Luckily I need a beef stock for my next video. Enough said on that. Right, what has happened in the last hour is that the egg white has cooked, and the egg white being denser, it sort of sinks to the bottom when it's cold. As it cooks, it comes to the top and it brings all the impurities with it. And as you can see now, there is a scum on the top of it, right, with a few cracks, right, where the water is sort of bubbling away. It's not simmering. If you simmer it, you've buggered it. Do not boil it either. I've obeyed the tool rules. I haven't stirred it, and I haven't brought it to the boil. It's poaching. Right, so now we will turn off the heat, get my trusted slotty spoon, slightly damaged, and very, very carefully go into one of these cracks that are formed and take away some of this scum very carefully. Put it into a bowl, and you can see there that liquid underneath is crystal clear. Right, I just need enough room to get a ladle in. So now we get the ladle, and you can see how clear that is. Pop it through my muslin cloth that I have cleaned, as you may have noticed since the last time I used it, and carefully pour it through the muslin cloth into a bowl. As I said, this stuff is so easy to produce. Be careful as you pour it into the muslin cloth. Don't push it through. You don't want the scum going through. You want the scum to stay on the top. Pour it on the side, let it run down. And say this is so easy to do. All the TV chefs make such a song and dance about it. If you don't boil it and you don't stir it, it's easy. Now, going back to my video, I know I did this on the last video because I used the duck stock in my last video, the chili con carne. So I know it existed, but witchcraft, that's all I can say. Right, I'm going to carefully now just pour it in from the side. And there's all that scum there with all the impurities. Right, let's see what we're left with. One crystal clear stock. Now, what am I going to drink with that? Well, really there's only one thing I can drink with that, and that is that. So I'm going to get a small ladleful, pour it into a glass, get a bit of cheesy garlic bread, that tastes so good. Enjoy.